Iranian, please. Persian channel working. Thank you. You're welcome. Korean channel, please. Hangulmanen.
Korean yok mu?
Russian channel, please. Testing, testing, testing. This is the text section for the Russian channel.
Assalomu alaykum. Hurmatli hamkasblar. Tarjimonlar joyidami?
Ha joyda. Good afternoon, dear participants.
Вы проверьте это. Да. Hurmatli xonimlar va janoblar,
Dear
hamkasblar.
ladies and gentlemen, dear
Ishimizni davom
guests
ettiramiz.
and dear participants, we will resume our session.
Hurmatli hamkasblar.
Dear colleagues, for the last 4 days, we've been discussing important issues and having interesting interactions and discussions on different important issues. According to the agenda, to the third point of the Assembly's agenda for the development of inter-parliamentary action, we had discussion during debates. We had over 120 parliamentarians from 14 organizations. We have 160 speakers in total. And in addition, Uzbekistan, we listened to the speech of the President of the Republic of Uzbekistan, where he voiced off his different initiatives, and his statements were included into the Tashkent Declaration. And regarding the draft of Tashkent Declaration, I would like to, I want to give the floor to the member of the Senate of the Republic of Uzbekistan, to the Director of Youth Agency, Mr. Alisher Sardullayev, and to the member of Jordan Parliament, Ms. Noor, please.
Assalamu alaikum. After Copenhagen's World Summit for Social Development, many goals remain unfulfilled. New challenges threaten progress and social cohesion everywhere. Today, as parliamentarians, our responsibility is clear. We must prioritize social development in our laws and policies. With the upcoming Second World War Summit in Qatar, we have a fresh opportunity to accelerate progress towards these sustainable development goals. Our collective action now will shape a fairer, more just future for everyone.
Around the world, societies face growing divisions. Trust in governments and public institutions has declined. Social protections, such as pensions and unemployment benefits, are under pressure. Every day, billions struggle with poverty, insecure jobs, poor housing, and inadequate services. Women, youth, migrants, people with disabilities, and minorities continue to face deep inequalities and discriminations. Hunger and homelessness persist even as new technologies widen the gap between rich and poor. Social isolation has intensified and inequality has become entrenched. We urgently need a new social contract, one founded on human rights, solidarity, and inclusion. Empowering women must be central. To guide forward, we propose 3 clear priorities: invest in people, democratize the economy, and strengthen institutions.
Thank you. Invest in people. People are our greatest resource. Investing in health, education, skills, and environment is essential for lasting progress. We pledge to ensure universal access to quality health care, prioritizing prevention and care for the elderly and disabled. Expand lifelong educational opportunities, especially for girls, women, migrants, minorities, and the unemployed. protect our environment by promoting renewable energy, addressing climate change, and safeguarding biodiversity. Strengthen social protection systems such as pensions and unemployment benefits to end poverty and exclusion. Provide affordable housing as a fundamental human right. Bridge digital divides, giving everyone access to new opportunities. Actively combat racism, xenophobia, violence, and intolerance in all forms. Support family-friendly policies, childcare, and improved work-life balance.
Thank you. Democratize the economy. Our economies must serve all people fairly. Prosperity should be measured by well-being and social cohesion, not just GDP. We commit to implement fair and progressive taxation, targeting vision and ensuring the wealthy pay their fair share. Shift resources from fossil fuel, subsided and excessive military spending toward education, healthcare, and social programs. Support small businesses and cooperative, providing access to finance and training. Uphold workers' rights, eliminate gender pay gaps, and ensure equal economic opportunities for women and minorities. Regulate finance to protect consumers, reduce harmful speculation, and encourage productive investment. Create meaningful support for workers displaced by technology and transition informal jobs into stable formal employment. Our economic future must include all voices, promoting social dialogue and shared prosperity.
Strengthen institutions. Strong institutions build trust and hold societies together. Governments, parliaments, judiciary systems, media, and international bodies must be transparent, accountable, and inclusive. We pledge to strengthen the accountability and effectiveness of our parliaments and public institutions, increase representation of women and youth in decision-making roles at all levels, ensure public institutions are open to citizens' participation and responsive to people's needs, act decisively against corruption, and ensure transparent government budgeting, regulate digital technologies ethically and effectively, addressing misinformation and safeguarding citizens' rights, strengthen judicial systems guaranteeing impartial and accessible justice, reform global financial institutions to better support social development, debt relief, and effective aid delivery. In politics, as in most things in life, change requires time and a long-term vision, which we believe this declaration provides. We urge all parliaments and parliamentarians to take ownership of this vision and to begin the process of change by developing national plans that are open to the contribution of all. In preparation for the Second World Summit for Social Development, we commit to holding debates in our parliaments and to engage with our respective government negotiators at the United Nations.
We are all thankful to the Parliament of Uzbekistan for bringing us together for this important debate and are inspired by the country's progress on social development and democratic reform in recent years. Let us all work together towards a strong and new global agreement on social development that is fit for the times and that will secure justice and peace for people everywhere. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Katta rahmat sizlarga. Alisher
Thank you very much, Alisher Sadullayev and Nur
Hamkasblar
and just listen the colleagues that can we say on behalf of Assembly that we approve this declaration? Thank you. So we are accepting it. Thank you.
Hurmatli hamkasblar.
Dear colleagues, with your permission, let me remind you the 6th and 7th and 8th and 9th issues in our agenda, and in the last time we will consider the 5th point, if you don't mind. And now, according to the 6th point of our agenda on the Sustainable Development Goals, we have the resolution prepared by the steering committee, and this draft resolution is dedicated to discuss different the finding solution to different conflict problems and developing strategies. And the draft resolution was reconsidered by the steering committee, and it was distributed to all parties. Let me give the floor to provide you information about this resolution to the to member of the UA Parliament member, Mira Asey. Mrs. Mira Asey, please, the floor is yours to provide information on that. Thank you.
Where is?
Assalamu alaikum. I am tasked with informing you of the outcome of the Standing Committee on Sustainable Development's deliberations. The committee was assigned the responsibility of discussing and drafting a resolution on parliamentary strategies to mitigate the long-lasting impact of conflicts, including armed conflicts, on sustainable development. The co-rapporteurs were Ms. Hala Ramzi Faiz from Bahrain, and Mr. Radoslaw Fujil from Poland, and Ms. Emma Mutika from Namibia. They prepared a draft resolution and an accompanying explanatory note. I take this opportunity to reiterate my thanks to the co-rapporteurs for their great work, dedication, and commitment. Drafting of the resolution was conducted in plenary. The committee had received 241 amendments submitted by 29 member parliaments. Thanks to the engagement of the co-rapporteurs and all committee members, we were able to conclude the drafting process in a constructive spirit and within the time allocated to us. I hereby thank all of them for their contributions and team spirit. Yesterday afternoon, the committee examined the consolidated draft resolution and adopted the text by acclamation. Iran expressed reservations on the whole text. The Russian Federation expressed reservations on preambular paragraphs 13 and 20, and operative paragraphs 14, 21, and 26. The resolution emphasizes the vital role of parliaments in mitigating the long-term impact of conflicts on sustainable development by promoting peace, protecting human rights, and ensuring inclusive governance. It calls for stronger international cooperation, legal accountability for environmental damage, and robust parliamentary oversight to safeguard civilian infrastructure, uphold humanitarian principles, and support post-conflict reconstruction. Additionally, it urges the integration of climate resilience, gender equality, and transparent resource distribution into recovery strategies to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. The committee also approved a work plan for the next assembly. It includes the debate on the theme of the next resolution a panel debate on the theme, The Impact of Global Warming, a parliamentary call to protect the most vulnerable, as well as a segment to prepare for the parliamentary meeting at the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Brazil, COP30. And thank you very much for your attention. Shukran.
Rahmat katta.
Thank you, Ms. Suwaida. The Assembly is ready to accept this
Qabul qilindi.
draft. Thank you for everybody.
Mazkur masala bo'yicha Iran
On this
vakili so'z
topic,
ochmoqchi.
the Iranian
Thank you very much, Madam
speaker
President.
he
Thank
wants
you for
to
your
speak.
hospitality.
Iran. Iran
The Islamic Republic of Iran, as per its principled position as the inalienable right to self-determination, the legitimate right to self-determination by the Palestinian people, it rejects the legitimacy of the usurper Zionist regime and rejects the two-state solution and believes that the only fair, sustainable, and durable solution to solve the Palestinian issue is the return of all the original inhabitants of Palestine to their lands and the establishment of a state with the Al-Quds as capital. This can be done through a general referendum. In this context, the Islamic Republic of Iran officially states that it does not corroborate with the two-state solution. At the same time, it would uphold its principled position. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much to Iranian representative. We'll take it into account. And now floor is given to India.
We welcome the adoption of this resolution. However, we have reservations to operative para 18 of the resolution. It is requested that our reservations be suitably reflected in the resolution, which is relating to parliamentary strategies to mitigate the long-standing impact of conflicts, including armed conflicts, on sustainable development. I thank you, Madam President.
Thank you very much for you voicing your opinion. We will take it into consideration. More willing to wisdom? No, if no. We see some delegations want to have a floor. And I would like to pinpoint your attention that resolution has been adopted. And you can give your opinion and you can give your opinion on that. And because your time is limited, members of the parliament will give you floor for 1 minute of time, and you can give explanation for that. And we move to seventh item of the agenda, Permanent Committee on Democracy and result. I propose to discuss the report. And first of all, we start with the Permanent Committee on Democracy and Human Rights. And Australian. We give floor to the representative of Australia, please.
Thank you very much, Madam President, and can I lend my voice with all of us here, once again in thanking you for your incredible hospitality here in Tashkent. Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, the Standing Committee on Democracy and Human Rights has addressed critical issues during our sessions: illegal international adoptions, orphanage trafficking, and artificial intelligence. Our work on illegal adoptions was profoundly impacted by personal testimony from Miss Colleen Fallon. Separated from her mother in Guatemala as a newborn, brought to Belgium with falsified documents, and officially registered as deceased in her birth country, her story represents thousands of similar cases worldwide. Her appeal to listen with your heart underscores the human dimensions of this crisis. Our debate emphasised the need for stronger international cooperation to ensure victims' right to identity, nationality and family connections. The rapporteurs will now draft an action-oriented resolution that the committee will examine in October. In following up on our previous resolutions, we addressed orphanage trafficking, noting that 80 to 90% of children in orphanages are estimated to have living parents. Several parliaments reported significant progress implementing our 2023 resolution, demonstrating how parliamentary action directly impacts vulnerable children. On artificial intelligence, we examined how parliaments have responded to our 2024 resolution by establishing specialised committees and enhancing data protection. The need for enhanced international and regional cooperation was clearly stated, and for parliaments to align their actions with international human rights standards and emerging governance frameworks. Challenges include managing the difference in the speed of technology and legislation, and ensuring developing nations are able to benefit from the transformative power of AI. Meanwhile, delegates also reported that parliaments and MPs are increasingly using AI for constituent communications and policy analysis, offering efficiency gains, but raising concerns about transparency and digital divides. The IPU's guidelines for parliamentary AI adoption promote responsible governance standards while addressing these challenges. Implementation of IPU resolutions remains crucial. I urge all parliaments to translate our words into concrete legislative action, into oversight activities, and into international cooperation. Only through determined implementation can we fulfil our mandate to protect democracy and human rights worldwide. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sonia. Assembly will receive this report for information. I think we can accept it if nobody minds. Thank you. With your permission, now I'll give the floor for report for the member of the Bureau of the United Nations Office, Lofi Gamma. Mr. Lofi Gamma, please.
Bonjour, Madame la Présidente.
Madam President.
Bonjour, Madame la Présidente de l'UIP, Monsieur le Secrétaire Général, chers collègues.
Madam President, President of the IPU, dear colleagues. I am from the Republic of Chad, a parliamentarian. It's my pleasure to present the report of the Standing Committee on United Nations Affairs, and I have been interim co-president with my Japanese colleague, Tsushi Ayogi. The committee held two sessions, one on the 7th of April and the other on the 8th. The first session dealt with the presence of the UN in the field in Uzbekistan. who participated. The resident coordinator of the UN, Mrs. Falvin Marsh, and Mr. Peter Lehner, and the Dav Amadjork Foundation. This sitting enabled us to learn a great deal about the UN country team. It comprises 25 entities and works in close cooperation with the government. There is a contribution from the Senate of Uzbekistan as well, together with a number of organizations representing civil society. We were apprised of the financing modes and development activities of the UN, which still depend on a certain number of major donors. This kind of financing leaves little freedom of maneuver to UN entities to meet evolving needs in the field, and therefore this kind of situation should be avoided. The main thing we learned was that parliaments should be able to control the design of country programs implemented by the UN and provide for top quality financing from the ministries concerned and multilateral organizations, in particular the World Bank and OECD. The second sitting dealt with the growing role of entities in international relations. We heard from two people. First of all, Claudio Cajado, a member of the Chamber of Deputies of Brazil and the ODDM, our colleague, Mr. Majinov, ambassador of the Federation of Russia in Uzbekistan. This discussion was in the same vein as the one we held on the role of G20 during the October 2024 session. It highlighted the major similarities and differences also between BRICS and G20 and the way in which each of these groups is linked to the UN. As explained, the BRICS were born in 2009 based on an informal partnership of countries that share the same ideas and want to reinforce their political and economic cooperation within the multilateral framework of the UN. This group was recently enlarged and does not seek to become a regulatory body. Basically, it wishes to help its member countries to make the best of the world economy in the interest of their populations. Despite certain reservations, participants concluded that the UN stand to benefit if it works in close cooperation with the BRICS and G20 by creating joint working groups. In particular, national parliaments have an important oversight role to play within the UN and also in these two informal groups. Finally, the committee heard a report from a representative, Mrs. Marta Lorenzo, who talked about the humanitarian crisis that's getting worse in Gaza and the daily work of the 10,000 doctors, advisors, and other UNRWA experts who help to meet essential needs in the face of the offensive attack by the Israeli army. Finally, the committee elected 5 new members. Mrs. Mazen El-Ghadi, Jordan, Ms. Halma Atulajan from Canada, Madam Elizabeth Werkenmeyer from Germany, Mr. Oleksiy Zemensky from Ukraine, and Madam Usebo Eugeno Beogo from Burkina Faso. I would like here to congratulate all these new colleagues who have just joined us.
Je me réjouis de les recevoir dans la
I
commission.
will be very pleased to welcome them in the committee to work in close cooperation with all members and other bodies. I wish to thank the Uzbek senator who enabled us to visit a health center that enabled us to glean a lot of information on the organization of health centers in Uzbekistan. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much also for your input and for your report submitted. And Assembly, can we approve this report? Thank you. So it was accepted.
Now we move to the eighth item, Permanent Committee on Peace and Sustainable Development, and the items that should be discussed in the 150th Assembly 21. And I will you to document as you see on the peace and cooperation, for one by period of cooperation, and to develop reliable mechanism of governing, and proposed a draft resolution. Nigeria's Deputy Speaker Yujan Kalu, and from Jordan Arni Al-Zubi, and from the Netherlands Fatima Zahra, and they are appointed rapporteurs. And Assembly, can we consider that Assembly is ready to adopt that resolution? Thank you. Adopted. On sustainable development, the permanent committee on to establish the sustainable society and to reduce tariffs and combat protectionism and the role of parliament on that. And we propose draft resolution on that. Senate member O'Neill, Deborah, Miss, and from simply Mr. Jose Miguel El Souza, and from Zambia, Jacqueline Sabao, they are appointed reporters, and with Assembly is ready to adopt. Can we consider that this approved? Yes, it is. Thank you. It is adopted. And now, with your permission,
excuse me,
Uzur.
no translation for Arabic. For both language. For both resolution that you presented.
The participants, they say that no translation to Arabic. Please invite interpreters from Arabic. And the draft resolution were distributed among you, and we approve all of that. And if you have some opinion and comments, please, you can take floor. Thank you. Assembly, can we consider that Assembly is ready to adopt? Thank you. Adopt it, please. So we adopted that resolutions. Thank you. And now, with your permission, we move to 9th item. And there are people who want to say, sorry, I didn't notice. You can have floor. Please talk on mic.
I just want to say from the German side that we keep the compromise from yesterday to the two-state resolution, but we will put a reservation on it because of some arguments that are missing in the text. We think we should mention Hamas and its responsibility for the terrorist attacks. This is not mentioned. We miss some other points that I don't want to phase out now, because to underline the will to take a compromise. But I think we urgently need some person who are able to make a civilian political government and to keep peace for the both states. Thank you.
Thank you very much, but we didn't move to that. We will reach that item later. And now, with your permission, we move to 9th item to the agenda, and the status of amendments to the parliament status. And you know that status bylaws of the parliament, we had consultations from 2023, and as a result, in October 2024 in Geneva, the 149th Assembly, first complex of documents were adopted on that amendments, and executive group in March, they resumed to study that amendments, and in December 2024, the executive committee gathered, and they studied that set of documents, and /50/51, they agreed, and 3 months till 150th Assembly, we discussed that, and on amendments of and up to March 8, 2025, we several parliaments, members of the union, they voiced their opinions, and they used the opportunity to make additions to that amendments.
And therefore, I think the Secretariat members should take steps on that, and on the 2017, I'll mention the number of document A120/9 and AM. And the Executive Committee in 2023, according to the regulations on amendments, the working group received the task to work on that issue. And today, the document which was proposed for discussion A50/9, the Assembly and the latest changes included in this document, and it is proposed to consider these amendments, and serial 215/7 it was approved, and according to which according to steering committee's regulation, the committers and members of the parliamentarians and women parliamentarians regulations were amended. Mr. Manchukong, I will ask Mr. Babukchong to have his information on these amendments. Please, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I see that you have explained elaborately the process for amendments that started in 2023. And as you have just mentioned, a first set of amendments were adopted by Council today, and now amendments to the statutes and rules of the Assembly have to be adopted by the Assembly itself. So you have that document that has been circulated to you, and we do certify that the relevant processes have been followed, the processes regarding the submission of amendments, consideration of sub-amendments, the process has been followed carefully, and this has been certified by the Executive Committee when it met at this session of the Assembly. And what you have before you are amendments to the statutes and to the rules of the Assembly. If I may just give you a gist. First of all, I want to clarify, when you look at paragraph 3 of the document that you have before you, it still reflects the possibility of an experiment with two subject items, two emergency subject items. You did discuss this matter a couple of days ago, and you did not endorse the proposal of trialing an experiment with two emergency items. So that part of the report before you has been superseded. I just wanted to draw your attention to that. But overall, the amendments that you have before you are intended to promote inclusivity in the processes of the organization. They are intended to mainstream gender considerations into all the processes and structures of the IPU, with the notion of gender parity and gender balance that are clearly stipulated in the amendments. In the bid to promote inclusivity, clear reference has been made to the inclusion of other groups of stakeholders, such as people living with disabilities, vulnerable groups that members are encouraged to include in the deliberative processes of the organization. The amendments also seek to streamline the deadlines and for the submission of amendments, for the processing of amendments in the future. And so, Madam President, that is what you have in that text before you. You are being called upon now to endorse the recommendations coming out of this process, as have been elaborated upon by the working group on amendments that you established, as well as the certification from the Executive Committee that the requisite procedures and processes have been followed. Madam President, you may now wish to call on the Assembly to adopt this set of amendments so that we can give more legitimacy to the processes of the organization. I want to join you in saying that the process of amendments is a work in progress. It has not been completed. The working group on amendments will continue its work, and we think that at the end of the process, you'll have a complete set of reforms of the organization that will allow you to move forward. So, Madam President, it's up to us, the Assembly now to make a determination on those proposals that they have in the document that I've just presented. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chunkung. Now we received a message from Belgium. They want to speak. Please.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Secretary General, for this explanation. I think it's quite clear, but just as a confirmation, as it's now from the table, but just to confirm that the possibility to have two emergency items in the future, as we discussed 2 days ago on the plenary session, is now from the table. And if it will come back on the table, that we do it following the statutes. This means with voting with a 2/3 majority. Can you confirm that?
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, I can confirm that.
Thank you.
Dear colleagues, the Assembly regarding the status of IPU and accepting the amendments, if we are ready to accept those amendments. Thank you. We are accepting it. Now, we received a question regarding the fifth paragraph of our agenda, and on the Thule action, the president of the IPU will chair this thing, please.
Thank you so much, Madam President of the Assembly. Colleagues, we will now go to item 5 of our agenda, and we are going to listen to the report that is prepared by the Standing Committee on Peace and International Security, and they are ready to present to us the role of parliaments in advancing a two-state solution in Palestine. Ms. Augul Kuspan of Kazakhstan is going to introduce the resolution. You have the floor.
Madame la Présidente, chers collègues,
President, dear colleagues, my initial task is to inform you of the results of the deliberations of the Standing Committee on Peace and International Security, which was entrusted with the discussion of item 5 of the agenda at the 150th Assembly and to prepare the draft resolution. The Standing Committee, first of all, met on 6 April and held an animated discussion on the draft resolution. After the introductory remarks made by the co-rapporteur, 29 speakers took the floor. This initial debate enabled members to present amendments in general and to share their support or reservations. Then we went on to look at the 156 amendments received by the Secretariat by the deadline. Negotiations were lengthy, lively, and sometimes difficult. However, the fact that I can present this resolution today shows that dialogue did prevail, and the common will to reach an agreed text did prevail as well. Parliamentary diplomacy and dialogue can make it possible to reach concrete results. The IPU, more than ever, is the forum that enables parliamentarians to come together on essential points. After a lengthy debate, members of the committee, representing all the geopolitical groups at the IPU, reached an agreement to go back to the initial text without amendments. I would like to present the text, which was drafted by 6 co-rapporteurs as requested by the Bureau of the Committee in March 2024. Recourse to 6 co-rapporteurs is not customary in the IPU. However, given the topic, which is so sensitive, we thought it was essential to gather the views of all the geopolitical groups as of the drafting phase of the resolution, the aim being to achieve inclusiveness and equity. The IPU works in favor of international law and the two-nation-state solution. It condemns the 7 October attack, calls for an immediate ceasefire to protect the civilian population, reinforce humanitarian aid, and universal recognition of the Palestinian and Israeli states, because no two-state solution can exist unless there are, first of all, two states. The draft resolution urges increased parliamentary action in favor of peace, diplomacy, human rights, and human safety and security. Yesterday, the committee adopted this resolution by acclamation, and the text of the resolution is now being submitted to you for adoption by the IPU Assembly. The Secretariat has since received news that a certain number of delegations wanted to express reservations after adopting the resolution. These reservations will be duly noted in the final document of the resolution, which will then be put up on the IPU internet site. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Madam President of the Standing Committee, for the introduction to the resolution. Like the President has just said, there are two colleagues who have requested for the floor after it is... And Zimbabwe? Okay. Okay, so as per our rules, we will give them the floor. In Palestine? Okay. So we will give the floor to these colleagues who have requested for the floor after the adoption of the resolution. That is what our Article 32 says. So colleagues, do I take that we adopt the resolution presented by the President of the Standing Committee? Thank you very much. It is so adopted. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. The clapping has gone on. I felt like I should bang again the gravel, but I will not do that. Thank you so much. Okay, colleagues, so we have 4 requests, and I'm going to begin with Iran. Will be followed by Germany and then Zimbabwe. You have 2 minutes. Iran, you have 2 minutes. The timer? I need the timer on.
In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful, the Secretariat of the IPU. Explanation of position of the Islamic Republic of Iran regarding the resolution parliamentary strategies to forge the two-state solution. The Islamic Republic of Iran, based on its principled and fundamental positions on the right to self-determination of the Palestinian nation, rejects the project because it legitimizes the usurper occupying Zionist regime. We also reject the two-state solution. The Islamic Republic of Iran believes that the only durable, lasting solution to the Palestinian issue is the return of all original inhabitants of Palestine to their motherland and the establishment of a unified country with its capital as with Al-Quds al-Sharif as its capital. This can be done through a general referendum of all the original inhabitants of Palestine. The Islamic Republic of Iran strips itself of the responsibility to support this resolution and rejects it. We ask the IPU Secretariat to include the Islamic Republic of Iran's official position, as I am reading, to be reflected in all the documents. Rahmat.
Thank you very much. We take note of that. Islamic Republic of Iran. Germany will be followed by Zimbabwe. Palestine will be next. Germany, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. As mentioned before, we keep the compromise of yesterday, but we are going to express a reservation. And first of all, I may say that Germany is supporting a two-state solution. I would like to say that very clear. However, the German delegation feels unable to support the resolution in front of us, namely because of reasons. There's not a single word that mentions the responsibility of the Hamas for the terrorist attacks. We miss an unconditioned release of all hostages as a clear precondition for any negotiation. And we think the text should emphasize that acts of violence are always unacceptable, regardless which side commits them, and that Israel has a right to self-defense. We demand that new stakeholders and neighbors should take a stronger role in addressing the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. This is not reflected in the text. So we urgently need a perspective for civilian political power, which is based on people who want peace with their neighbors, doing the best for their own people, including gender-responsive legislation and policies that protect the rights and dignity, prevent gender-based violence, as it is described in the resolution. And we all know that terrorist organization of Hamas does not stand for all this, and even announced to repeat attacks again and again. I'm certain the IPU can find better ways to stand together and address this important issue, because we all have the aim to come to peace in that region.
Please conclude.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Germany, we take note. Zimbabwe, followed by Palestine.
Thank you very much, Madam President. May I draw your attention to paragraph 1 of the resolution, which clearly acknowledges the role of the United Nations Security Council, as well as the United Nations General Assembly, in trying to find a permanent solution on the Palestinian question. I would have thought that the resolution could have included the peace efforts that have been and continue to be undertaken by Qatar and Egypt, which ended in the signing of the ceasefire. But although the ceasefire has not been respected as agreed through the negotiators, that is Qatar and Egypt, I think it is important that we acknowledge the efforts that are being done by countries such as Qatar and Egypt in that first paragraph. Apart from negotiating for a ceasefire, they've been also involved in a tremendous manner in ensuring that humanitarian aid gets to the affected people, especially the Hamas. On paragraph 17, I noticed that there is a recommendation to transform the Committee on Middle East Question into a strategic task force on the Middle East. I don't understand the rationale, because the Committee on Middle East Question is a standing committee in terms of our statutory. The Strategic Task Force on the Middle East would be an ad hoc committee. So what is the rationale really of changing?
Please conclude.
I'm concluding the nomenclature of the committee to a task force. I so submit.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, the concerns that have been raised will be noted, and including the ones that you have mentioned about paragraph 17 and how the modalities will also be addressed in the same context. So in the sense that paragraph 18, what you have raised, the executive committee will be looking into the modalities of how best that can be handled, but we have taken note. Palestine will be followed by Austria, and Hungary will be next.
Thank you, Madam President. We welcome adopting the resolution with its initial draft by consensus as a step affirming ending Israeli illegal occupation for regional and international peace and security, even though it doesn't fulfill the aspiration of the Palestinian people. However, we affirm it was a compromised language and nothing was mentioned on condemnation. And we affirm that in no way there is equation between oppressor and oppressed. And we recommend and ask for the next resolution to ask for economic sanctions and irresponsible trade of arms to end the illegal occupation and to condemn its international crimes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Palestine, we note the comment also that has been put forward. Austria, followed by Hungary. Austria, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Austria wishes to pose 3 reservations with regards to the resolution, even though we fully support the two-state solution as has been stated in the resolution. Details have been committed to the Secretariat in written form. They refer to 3 paragraphs and it's 2 terms which we would suggest to phrase differently. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Austria, we take note. Hungary will be followed by Sweden.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you for the floor. On behalf of the Hungarian delegation, I would like to express our reservation regarding the whole text. We can't find it balanced, and in our view, it does not serve the long-term peace. Thank you.
Hungary, we take note. Sweden?
Thank you, Madam President. I would also like to start to say thank you to the committee for their work. I would, it's a little bit loudly here, so I have difficulties to speak, but I will try if I raise my voice. Thank you. It's a little bit loudly, but I will try to speak. Thank you, please.
Colleagues, there are people standing in front or, in front of the person who is speaking. Please sit down so that we can see each other. Thank you. Sweden, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. We would like from Sweden, just as well as Germany, to send a word for the continued work that it would be very pleasant if there could be a word about Hamas kidnapping of the hostages and the release of them. We see it as an important part of the ongoing conflict. It's just a message to send to the continued work of the working group for a release of the hostages and as soon as possible. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Sweden. Colleagues, this is the list that I had, and we take note of what you have said, and it will be included in the report that we are going to have about these discussions here. Okay, colleagues, since we have already noted the colleagues who have taken the floor and the concerns they have raised, and we have already adopted our resolution. So this item number 5 is already done, so thank you so much for your cooperation. Now I will give back the presidency to the President of the Assembly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Axel. Dear colleagues, actually we covered all the issues in our agenda. Now the leadership of the Inter-Parliamentary Union and geopolitical groups, we will listen to their final remarks according to tradition. First, the the final remarks of geopolitical groups. With your permission, I'll give the floor to African group member and from South African Parliament member, Mrs. Toka Diziz. Please, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Malibongwe. Igama lamakhosikazi malibongwe. The slogan I'm just articulating just now says, the name of the women must be praised. And it was a slogan by women as they marched against the apartheid regime, which demanded that women carry passes. And through that march to the Union building, the Prime Minister of the time collapsed and died. So when we say, let the power and the name of the women be praised, we say Malibongwe. Madam President of the Assembly, Madam President of the IPU, General Secretary of the IPU, fellow speakers, honorable members, ladies and gentlemen. As we come to the end of this 150 years of the IPU Assembly, let us pay our tribute to the Parliament, government, and the people of Uzbekistan for the warm hospitality that they've extended to us from the day we arrived until today. We have built friendships and got exposed to the culture and the warmth of the people of Uzbekistan. Madam President, as the Africa Group, we wish to also thank you and all members of the Assembly for having stood with us in solidarity when we faced the difficult moment during this Assembly as we lost one of our own, Mr. Roy Ngulube, the clerk of the Parliament of Zambia. Madam President of the Assembly, during this session, we were able to reflect on the theme from our various parliaments and shared with one another on progress we have made in respect of social development and justice, but also shared the challenges that continue to bedevil us. We congratulate the Assembly again for encouraging us to remember the need for continued advocacy in ensuring that more young people participate in the work of Parliament as members, but also as workers of these important institutions. The continued work on women's participation in parliaments is applauded as this Assembly was celebrating the 40 years of that work. Madam President, there remains vexing issues that require further work that still needs to be done. The issues of conflict, as well as the need for conflict resolution, the need for dialogue, and the attainment of peace is still a matter that we as this Assembly have to continue to find ways in which we can address them. Madam Chair, we've all experienced the trauma of war and conflict and the impact it has on women and children. We've also seen how conflict and wars slows down progress. It is for this reason that we cannot tire but continue to do this work. It is for this reason, Madam Chair, that we applaud the IPU for the work it has been doing in strengthening dialogues and supporting the work of those parliaments and countries trying to work towards the resolution of conflict. We applaud therefore the work that has been done by the task force on the Ukraine and Russia conflict. We believe the IPU can explore similar interventions in our region in Africa in particular, in countries such as the Sudan and the DRC. We also applaud the work the IPU is doing in helping parliaments that are in transition, in particular in our continent, such as Chad, and the success that you have made in that regard. We also applaud the continued work that you have committed yourself, as you said and given the report in the Governing Council this morning, on the continued work that you'll be doing in Burkina Faso and Mali. We stand ready as the Africa Group to work with you on some of those issues. Madam President, the current system of dealing with issues of emergency items as it stands today, while one appreciates that there are standing orders and procedures, but I think we should also appreciate that it robs us an opportunity of deliberating on critical issues that affect our world. If one looks at one of the proposals that was made, looking at the impact of the earthquake in Myanmar, I'm sure all of us would have agreed that it was an important issue. But because of the system in which such matters get deliberated upon, does rob us an opportunity of focusing collectively on matters that affect all of us. And I do hope, as we reflect and look at our standing orders and procedures, we will find better ways on how we could deal with some of those matters going forward. So as Africa Group, we want to say thank you for how we have conducted this assembly, and really wish that when we meet in October, we would have done more work in our various parliaments as well as the regions. Thank you very much, Madam President.
Thank you very much, Ms. Aziza, for your kind inputs. And now I'll give the floor to Arab Group member, Mr. Musa Hadid. Please, the floor is yours.
بداية أود أن أعرب عن شكري وتقديري لرئيس الاتحاد البرلماني
Thank you, and at the outset, allow me to express my thanks to the IPU President, and I'm delivering this statement on behalf of the Arab Group. Tulia Axon, IPU President, Mr. Martin Chungong, Secretary General of the IPU, Your Excellencies, Speakers of Parliaments, Heads of Delegation, distinguished parliamentarians, ladies and gentlemen, may the peace of God be upon you. So today we conclude the work of the 150th Inter-Parliamentary Assembly, and on behalf of the Arab Group, I wish to express my thanks and appreciation to the IPU President and Secretary General, and indeed to the Secretariat and to the Republic of Uzbekistan, our host country. Thank you so much for all of your efforts in ensuring a successful assembly. Once again, this underscores the importance of common parliamentary action to try to rise to the challenges we currently face. Ladies and gentlemen, the meeting today is occurring at a time when the situation in many regions around the world is particularly alarming, and we must rise to this challenge as parliamentarians. We must focus our action on respect for international law and on protecting human values. It's impossible to ignore the tragic situation in occupied Palestine. The war machine of the Zionists continues to target innocent people, and in flagrant violation of international law, with a shameful silence around the world in the face of this Palestinian suffering. On behalf of the Arab Group, we wish once again to reiterate our strong support for the Palestinian cause, and we call upon regional, national, and international parliamentary organizations to call for respect for international law and for moral law, and to apply pressure as well as they can to ensure international support for the Palestinian people, so that Palestinian people can enjoy their right to self-determination, a state with Jerusalem as its capital, in accordance with United Nations resolutions and the Arab Peace Initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, experience has shown that common parliamentary action is an effective tool to promote dialogue and preventive diplomacy. We have a role to play as representatives of our peoples to try to restrict conflict, and we don't want the status quo to be imposed by the force of arms and military might. Today, we are facing political, economic, and environmental challenges. And we need to strengthen our parliamentary action, work together more effectively in order to propose innovative solutions to respond to our people's aspirations for development and prosperity. We reiterate our commitment to the principles of democracy and human rights, and we call for a strengthening of intercultural dialogue. We call for non-interference in the internal affairs of states, so that we can ensure collective security. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to thank everybody who has contributed to a successful assembly, and we sincerely hope that the results, the outcome of this assembly will lead to tangible steps to consolidate Parliament's role and help us to build a fairer future. We're convinced that our cooperation will be vital in building a fairer world and a more humane world as well. Thank you very much indeed for your attention. May the peace of God be upon you.
Thank you very much for your great speech, and you also highlighted very correctly different tasks of your group, and thanks for your kind words addressed to us also. The next, the floor is given to the Asia Pacific group, and the representative of the Chinese delegation, the Deputy Chairman of the Committee on Science and Education, Mr. Jiang Chunshu, please.
Madam President of the Assembly, Madam President of IPU, Mr. Secretary General, and dear colleagues, it is a great honor for me to address you today on behalf of the Asia Pacific Group. First of all, let me express on behalf of our group our sincere thanks to the host country for the great hospitality accorded to us. On April 5th, we held the APG meeting, which was attended by 18 delegations. The meeting was undoubtedly a great success, with plenty of consensus reached within the group. During the meeting, APG members expressed their strong support for and keen interest in participating the IPU-related work, with a large number of candidates competing for vacancies within the APG for IPU positions. With concerted efforts of all members, 19 candidates were eventually nominated. We also deliberated on emergency items, proposals, and candidates for the drafting committee. At the meeting, the IPU Secretariat introduced the project Sexism, Harassment, and Violence Against Women in Parliaments in the Asia-Pacific region. The Asia-Pacific Group focused on ensuring the rights of female parliamentarians to participate in the political affairs. And the members of the Executive Committee from India and Australia briefed the group on the work of the IPU Executive Committee. The representative of the Philippines, as the chair of ASEAN Plus 3, reported the work of the ASEAN Plus 3 meeting. Additionally, China briefed the group on the updating on the preparation of the 6th World Conference of Speakers of Parliaments. Last but not the least, the Asia-Pacific Group would like to extend its congratulations to all the outcomes we have achieved during the Assembly. This has been a remarkable success in broadening our common ground in promoting social development and justice through parliamentary actions and enhancing multilateralism. The APG is delighted and honored to be part of this process and is prepared to work together with other parliaments to build on our achievements. We firmly believe that, considering the volatile international situation and increasing global instability, as representatives of our people, it is the shared desire of all parliaments to promote cooperation, dialogue, and unity, thereby making significant contributions to a common and promising future for humanity. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chang Chun-Shun. Now I want to give the floor to the Latin America group and the member of Caribbean Sea group, Mari Carmen Alba. Mrs. Mari Carmen Alba, please, floor is yours.
Buenas tardes, señora presidenta, presidenta del Congreso de
Good
Uzbekistan.
afternoon.
Assalamu alaikum. Hurmatli
President
ishtirokchilar,
Secretary General of the IPU, first of all, I would
avvalambor
like to reach
ruxsatingiz
out
bilan
to Mansour Nadia,
bugungi biz
who was unable
English
to attend on behalf of his country, Guyana.
the proper
Also,
English
I would like
yo'qolib qoldi.
to thank the Parliament of Uzbekistan on behalf of all the GULAG members, present at this historic assembly. We successfully finished the 105th assembly. Moreover, we all
No English
agree
translation. No English translation.
that we had an amazing host who spared no efforts to
English.
extend extraordinarily warm hospitality. We'd like to congratulate Uzbekistan on its choice to host the
No
Forum of
English
Young
translation.
Parliamentarians
No
in
English translation.
2027 in Samarkand. Clearly, we have seen the
English.
first-rate organization of the country, and this no doubt will also be the case next year in the former capital. As my preceding colleague, we wish to congratulate the host of this
English
assembly.
tarjima kemiyatibdi menga. Men ispancha
We will
bilmayman.
also have the
Englishcha kim
meeting
qilyapti?
of women parliamentarians next year in Peru and young parliamentarians. The idea is to ensure that these two fora will focus on Latin America and the Caribbean and also the global world. The physical distance between the
Sorry,
region of
there is no
Central
English
Asia
translation.
has warranted the presence in this assembly of 9 delegations, including Bahamas, Brazil, Chile, Ecuador, Guyana, Mexico, Uruguay, and Uruguay. We thus had a quorum. However, we'd like to draw attention to this challenge we have in terms of guaranteeing full participation. I'd like to take this opportunity to say that Argentina was absent for reasons that require clarification. We'd like to highlight the solidarity of GULAG and its support. We hope indeed that next October this Parliament will be present. GULAG also had the permanent observer for the second time who attended. I'm referring to Parlatino, the Latin American and Caribbean Parliament, with the President, Rolando González Patricio. Amongst the meetings at this 150th Assembly, we have the presentation of a proposed emergency item sponsored by Chile and Peru, represented by Senator Rojo Edwards, and it referred to tariffs. It was not approved, neither were the other two initiatives presented by other political groups. However, this calls attention to the fact that this is a very important issue which has led to a crisis in global trade. It's so very important that it was adopted with certain changes within the Committee on Sustainable Development. As you all know, founder of the IPU, Premier Patti, wanted the IPU to be an outstanding example of confidence and solidarity around the world. Also, they received the Nobel Peace Prize. We dealt with the remainder of the agenda on the Assembly, and we were present and active in all the areas as parliamentarians. Claudio Cajado, Brazil, and Cynthia Lopez Castro from Mexico actively participated. We actively participated in meetings of the Executive Committee. I'd like to take this opportunity to say to GULAG, thank you for appointing me Vice President of the Executive Committee, and I congratulate the IPU and colleagues from other groups, the other geopolitical groups, and in particular the other Vice Presidents of the IPU and our Polish colleagues. We also made major contributions in all the bodies of the IPU, including the Forum of Young Parliamentarians and Women Parliamentarians, as mentioned by Cynthia Lopez Castro. In the standing committees, we were extremely active. International peace and security. We refer to the resolution on Palestine, democracy and human rights, Silvia Nane from Uruguay, the committee where GULAG is co-rapporteur with its a senator from Argentina. Excellent work, preparatory work was done together with the other co-rapporteurs on the theme of illegal international adoption. And the draft resolution will be debated next October. By the same token, we were present in the Standing Committee on United Nations Matters. We had Claudio Cajado, who was present, who will help to clarify the scope of BRICS in terms of sustainable development. Ms. Augusto from Mexico, who is an active member. I could continue to describe contributions made by GULAG to IPU and other entities, like the Committee to Promote Respect for International Humanitarian Law, the Advisory Group on Health Against Terrorism and Extreme Violence, not to mention the Middle East as well. I would like to congratulate the new members of GULAG in the Committee on the Human Rights of Parliamentarians, our colleagues from Chile, and we're sure that they will do some outstanding work. We would also like to say that our representatives have made major contributions to debates at the Assembly on parliamentary action for social development and justice. There were special workshops and inter-religious dialogue and inter-parliamentary action for peace. I'm very pleased to refer to the action taken by GULAG members. In GULAG, we believe deeply in parliamentary diplomacy and the role of national parliaments in building a better world. We shall continue working actively, therefore, to ensure that the IPU becomes ever more relevant within the global order. It will continue to act in the interests of citizens whom we represent. Thank you very much, Madam President, for your careful attention, and I wish you all a safe journey home.
Thank you very much for your also great speech. Now I want to give the floor to 12th class representative from Swiss Parliament member, Mr. Laurent Verly. Please, floor is yours.
Merci, Madame la Présidente
Thank
de
you,
séance, Madame la
Madam.
Présidente de l'Union
Thank
interparlementaire,
you,
Monsieur le
President of the
Secrétaire Général,
IPU, Secretary
chers
General,
collègues,
dear
Mesdames et Messieurs.
colleagues, ladies and gentlemen.
Permettez-moi tout d'abord, à
I
l'instar
would
de
like,
mes collègues,
first of all,
de
like my
remercier tout
other
d'abord
colleagues,
très sincèrement
to very
tous
sincerely
nos amis
thank
de
all
l'Ouzbékistan
our
qui
friends
nous ont
from
ainsi si
Uzbekistan
magnifiquement
who
reçus.
have
Merci beaucoup,
welcomed us so
spasiba.
beautifully. Thank you very much.
Vous dire également que
Spasiba.
le groupe des 12
I would
plus
also
s'est
like to
réuni le
say
4
that the
avril
12
pour sa
plus
réunion
group met on 4th
présessionnelle dans
April
l'après-midi et
for
durant
its
chaque matin du
pre-session in the
5 au
afternoon
8
and every
avril.
morning from the 5th to the
Lors de
8th of
notre première
April.
réunion, nous avons eu
During our first
l'opportunité
meeting, we
d'échanger
had
avec
an
Madame la
occasion
Présidente
to
et nous la
talk with the
remercions de sa
President, and we wish to
disponibilité.
thank her for
Cet échange
being
a
so
permis au groupe
available.
de faire part de ses
This discussion
préoccupations
enabled the group to
concernant
share its
l'introduction d'un essai
concerns
sur 2 points
pertaining
d'urgence
to
et
the
de son opposition
introduction
à celui-ci
on
en
a
raison de
trial basis
l'absence de
of 2
fondement
emergency
statutaire.
items. This did
Nous
not comply
remercions
with
Madame
the
la Présidente
statute.
d'avoir pris en compte le point
Thank you,
soulevé par
Madam
certains membres des 12
President, for
plus
taking
et nos
account of the
collègues du
points raised
Zimbabwe
by
durant
some members of
l'Assemblée
12 Plus
et
and our
d'avoir
colleague from
retiré cet
Zimbabwe
essai.
during the Assembly and
Il
for
est essentiel
withdrawing
que
this
nous respections nos statuts
trial.
et règlements.
We need to abide by our
Le
statutes
groupe des
and
12
rules.
déplore
The 12
également le
Plus
nouvel
group
échec de
also
l'adoption d'un point
deplores
d'urgence,
the failure
le
to
troisième
adopt an
depuis la
emergency
147e
item. The
Assemblée,
third
ce
time this
qui est
has
symptomatique à nos yeux
occurred
d'une polarisation et d'une
over
division
recent
croissante
years.
entre
This shows
différents
growing
pays
division
et
between the
groupes
various
géopolitiques.
countries and geopolitical
Nous
groups.
estimons qu'il est plus que
We
jamais
feel that
nécessaire
it is more
d'ouvrir une
necessary than
réflexion sur le
ever
sens
to
et le
think about
fonctionnement de
the
ces points
meaning and
afin
functioning of
d'identifier
these
des pistes
items in
concrètes
order to
pour éviter que
identify
cette situation ne se
specific means to
reproduise
ensure that
et ne
this
paralyse
situation does
notre
not occur
capacité
again in the future,
d'action commune.
thereby paralyzing our
Les
ability
membres du groupe des
jointly
12
to
plus
take
ont été
action.
particulièrement actifs au sein
12
de
Plus
différentes
was particularly
commissions,
active in the
notamment celle
various
de la paix et de la
committees, particularly
sécurité
peace and
internationale, dans
international
le cadre de son
security.
projet de résolution, le rôle
I'm
des
referring to
parlements
the
dans la
draft
promotion d'une
resolution, the role of
solution
parliaments
à
in the
2 États
promotion
en
of a
Palestine
two-state
et
solution
cette
in
solution de
Palestine.
consensus
And this
retrouvée en
consensus
faveur d'une
solution
telle
was found
solution
in
à 2
favor
États.
of such a two-state solution.
Permettez-moi de saluer le
May I
travail plus
also
particulier de
commend
certaines personnes.
the work done in
Tout
particular by
d'abord,
certain
notre
people.
collègue Gabriela
Our colleague
Moraska-Sanenka,
Gabriela Muskanecka,
vice-présidente de l'Union
Vice
interparlementaire, élue
President
à
of
ce
the
titre durant cette
IPU,
session, et également
and
vice-présidente du
also
groupe
Vice President
géopolitique des 12
of the 12 Plus
Je tiens
geopolitical
également à
group.
citer M. Blanc
I would
de
also like to
France,
mention
président du
Mr.
Comité
Blanc
des
from
droits de
France,
l'homme des
President of the
parlementaires,
Committee of
ainsi que Michel Demestre,
Human Rights
rapporteur de
of
la prochaine
Parliamentarians, and the
résolution sur
rapporteur
les
of
adoptions
the resolution
internationales
on
illégales.
international illegal
Nous remercions
adoption.
Mme Sederfeld de
I'd like to
Suède
thank
pour
Mrs.
sa nouvelle
Sederfeld
fonction
from
de
Sweden
présidente du groupe de
on her new
travail sur la
function as
science et la
President of the Working
technologie
Group on
et nous lui
Science and
souhaitons tout le
Technology,
succès dans ses
and we
nouvelles
wish
fonctions.
her a great success in
Bravo
this
également à notre
new
collègue
capacity.
Asma des
We'd
Pays-Bas
like
qui a été
to
réélue à la tête du
refer to
comité des
Sadma
questions
Tunde, who's
relatives au
re-elected
Moyen-Orient.
as the
Je lui
head of the
souhaite
Committee
pleine
on Middle
réussite dans la
East.
conduite de
I
la
wish him every success
restructuration interne
in
de son
the internal
comité qui va
restructuring of
suivre.
this committee, which will
Nous nous
ensue.
réjouissons également de l'élection
We
de Mme
also
Riotton
welcome
de
the
France, M. Laure de Suisse et
election
Mme
of
Thielaine des Pays-Bas
France
au sein
and
du
our
nouveau
colleagues from
comité
the
sur la
Netherlands
santé et
on
leur
the new
adressons tous nos
committee
vœux
on
pour la
health,
pleine
and
réalisation
we
de
wish
leurs
them
nouvelles
great
fonctions,
success in
ainsi
their
qu'à Mme
new
Minute qui rejoint le
positions,
groupe concernant le
and also
terrorisme
our
et les
colleague
actions violentes.
who is now joining the group
Notre
on
groupe reste
action
entièrement
against
disponible pour
violence.
collaborer sur les
We
objectifs
are very
communs de
available when
notre
it comes to working on
organisation,
the common
comme vous
goals
le
of
savez
our
fort bien.
organization, as you know full
Je ne
well.
saurais terminer
I would like also to thank all our colleagues for the very interesting discussions. The Secretary General of the IPU, who has done exemplary work, and we wish to convey our gratitude. Thank you to all the members of the staff of the various delegations, and in particular the Secretariat, which has provided great support for the Secretariat of 12+. I wish you all a very successful end to the Assembly and a very safe journey home. And we look forward to welcoming you once again in Geneva this fall.
Laureat Verli janob oliylari, sizga ham katta minnatdorlik bildiramiz samimiy so'zlaringiz uchun. Endi men mamnuniyat bilan so'z
Dear
navbatini
Verli, we also thank you for your input. Now to President Tulia Action, please, floor is yours.
Madam President of the Assembly, Mr. Secretary General of the IPU, honorable speakers, deputy speakers, and colleagues. We knew all along that this assembly, our 150th, needed to be a special one. And I think we can safely say that our gracious hosts have risen to the occasion and made it one to remember, with the warmest of welcomes, impeccable facilities, delicious food, and beautiful surroundings. Rahmat, I said it at the inaugural ceremony, but it bears repeating. On behalf of all of us, Rahmat, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, from the get-go, this assembly has carried a sense of significance. We have commemorated 150 occasions where the world's parliamentarians have answered the IPU's call for democracy for everyone. It is clear that this organization has stood the test of time. There is no question there. But I would also like to say that our mission remains of profound importance, perhaps more so today than ever before. The world needs to hear the voices of its people. The world needs strong parliamentarism. The world needs parliamentary diplomacy. So let's look forward to continued inter-parliamentary cooperation to the next 150 IPU assemblies and to the generations they will serve. Dear fellow parliamentarians, your active participation, insightful contributions, and commitment to the IPU have been the footing of the Assembly's successes. Over the past week, we have had inspiring examples of how your parliaments are rising to the challenges of our time. But these were not just words delivered from the podium. We have also engaged in parliamentary diplomacy to develop meaningful cooperation and take necessary action forward. We must note and celebrate the successes of the past few days. At the same time, we must also be earnest and sincere in acknowledging where we have fallen short, not to point fingers and assign blame, but to reflect and learn. The world is not short of emergencies, yet 2 days ago we fell short of adopting an emergency item resolution. But I would like to invite you to view this as an occasion to strengthen coordination and deepen dialogue amongst member parliaments and geopolitical groups. Dialogue remains our most essential tool. And when it does not succeed, and sometimes happens, it should only be seen as a signal that more dialogue is needed. After all, dialogue is most important not with those who we agree with, but with those who we do not. So let us return to the next IPU Assembly with a renewed commitment to engage, to listen to one another, and to build the understanding that is needed to move forward, the only way we can do it together. At the start of my mandate, dear colleagues, I made a promise to explore ways to modernize the IPU statutes and rules. The events of the past few days, and indeed the last 2 years, have shown that in a fractured world, our emergency item procedure is not fulfilling its purpose. We will continue our work to reflect on potential changes to that process, to ensure that the Assembly can always come together, find common ground, and express its position on the most urgent issues of the day. Dear colleagues, dear friends, at the heart of our deliberations, thank you. At the heart of our deliberations was a general debate on a very important subject. We know that the clock is ticking on the Sustainable Development Goals, and we have seen over the past few days just how many of these goals relate to social development and justice. In fact, we could even say that social development and justice are prerequisites for all sustainable development goals. And true sustainable development is measured by how societies treat their most vulnerable, by the quality of the life they offer to their citizens, and by the respect for our shared human condition. The Tashkent Declaration offers us the tools to do just that and send a strong parliamentary contribution to the upcoming second summit on social development. Social progress begins when societies prioritize their citizens. First, at this 150th Assembly, we, the IPU member parliaments, have reaffirmed our shared commitment to place human dignity and well-being at the heart of our policies. We have pledged to invest deliberately and meaningfully in education, healthcare, and environmental protection. Every individual deserves the chance to thrive, from children receiving the schooling they need to succeed, to older persons accessing affordable, compassionate care. We must work to bridge digital and social divides, ensure equitable access to essential services, and empower communities everywhere to flourish. Second, at this Assembly, we, the IPU member parliaments, have underscored that economies must serve humanity, not the other way around. Economic justice demands bold reforms. It is no longer acceptable that wealth accumulates in fewer and fewer hands, while hundreds of millions of individuals struggle for basic human dignity. Democratizing our economies means adopting fairer tax systems. It means supporting small businesses, promoting workers' rights, and fiercely protecting the most vulnerable among us. In line with the core values of our organization, democratizing our economies also means ensuring genuine inclusion, ensuring women, youth, and marginalized groups participate and lead the way toward a more equitable future. Third, at this Assembly, we, the IPU member parliaments, have stressed that democracy and development are deeply intertwined. And every democracy is built on trustworthy institutions. So we are urging increased transparency, accountability, and responsiveness within our government bodies. Colleagues, representation must truly reflect societal diversity, including the voices of women, youth, and minorities in decision-making processes. It also entails strengthening the rule of law, vigorously combating corruption, and encouraging citizen participation in governance and budgeting processes. At the international level, we must support reforms that allow global institutions to effectively address social challenges, resulting in a more just and stable world for current and future generations. So, it is time, dear colleagues and friends, to eradicate poverty and hunger, to invest in people's health, education, and happiness, to protect the planet, to democratize the economy, and to make sure the institutions that guide and oversee these efforts, both national and multilateral, are fit for the purpose. Dear colleagues, dear friends, together and guided by our Tashkent Declaration, we can shape powerful policy rooted in solidarity and justice for all humanity, carrying the aspirations of the people we represent. And today, let us all agree and say we will not let them down. I thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Tuli Ekson, for your kind words, for your inspiring speech. Thank you very much again. Now I want to give the floor to Inter-Parliamentary, Mr. Martin Chungpong.
Madam President of the 150th Assembly of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, Madam President of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, honorable speakers and deputy speakers of Parliament present at this Assembly, members of Parliament from across the world, ladies and gentlemen. At the inaugural ceremony of this Assembly, from this same rostrum, I spoke of the many challenges the world is facing. I was hopeful that this week the IPU membership could come together, find consensus, and propose solutions to them. In some cases, as you know, and as you've heard, that has not been possible. But we must not lose hope. Many delegates have pointed out that they come to IPU assemblies not just to hear views that chime with their own, but to hear all sides of the argument, to be challenged, to break free of their echo chambers, to look at the world through different eyes. And even when an assembly does not end with everyone on the same page, we are still very much enriched by what we have learned along the way. We all want concrete outcomes, but sometimes it takes more time than expected. I am sure the Inter-Parliamentary Union will come back from this experience stronger than ever. In the meantime, let us accentuate the positive results of this landmark 150th Assembly. After an inclusive, exhaustive, and often impassioned process led by our Standing Committee on Peace and International Security, we now have passed a resolution on the situation in Israel and Palestine that underscores the important role of our institution in advancing the two-state solution. We have also adopted an important resolution coming from our Standing Committee on Sustainable Development on strategies to mitigate the long-lasting impact of conflicts on sustainable development. The subsidiary bodies of the Governing Council, including the Committee on the Human Rights of Parliamentarians, the IPU Task Force on the Peaceful Resolution of the War in Ukraine, the Committee to Promote Respect for International Humanitarian Law, and the Committee on Middle East Questions have all held very successful meetings. Madam President of the Assembly, Madam President of the IPU, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, during the deliberations of the Council this morning, we had this poignant statement from the Prime Minister of the Republic of Senegal thanking the IPU for what they have done to ensure justice in his country, to ensure that he who had been previously imprisoned was released from jail and was able to participate in the political process in his country, which has led to him being elevated to the office of Prime Minister in his country. This is an example of what the IPU can achieve if we put our heads together, we are united in a common agenda. And I think that we can all feel proud of this. During this assembly, we have allowed space, more space in the program for coordination between the geopolitical groups, the standing committees, and its specialized agencies or bodies. During this assembly, no fewer than 70 separate specialized meetings and events have taken place on a variety of issues that are pertinent to the global agenda. We have had successful or substantive discussions on beliefs and social norms, advocacy for climate action, weapons of mass destruction and reducing methane gas emissions, among many others. We have launched an exciting new campaign on achieving gender equality action by action, promoting concrete actions to achieve parity in parliaments and politics, to encourage institutions to become more gender sensitive, and to combat gender-based violence and discrimination. We have all heard that greater gender equality is our priority theme for this year. I was gratified to see that just over 37% of MPs at this assembly are women, not quite reaching our record of 39% achieved during the assembly in Madrid in 2001 and in Nusa Dua in 2022, but still a sign that we are going in the right direction. And we kicked off this assembly with the Forum of Women Parliamentarians celebrating its 40th anniversary, a milestone that also coincides with the 30th anniversary of the Beijing Declaration and the 25th anniversary of the UN Security Council Resolution on Women, Peace and Security. And in short, this assembly following hot on the heels of the hugely successful Global Conference on Women Parliamentarians, which took place in Mexico. And we can comfortably say that this year of gender equality, this year of focus on gender equality has gotten off to a fantastic start. But this is a bumper year on other accounts and more broadly. In June this year, we will be convening in Rome for the second Parliamentary Conference on Interfaith Dialogue. And I wish to express the hope that we will see as many of you as possible during this very important meeting. Then we will move on to Geneva in late July, where we will be holding the landmark 6th World Conference of Speakers of Parliament, preceded by the 15th Summit of Women Speakers of Parliament. And these are rare opportunities for as many speakers of Parliament as possible, coming from every corner of the world, to come together and review achievements or challenges that have occurred over the past 5 years and rededicate their institutions to more robust action to rise to these challenges. I'm also very happy to see that our IPU family is continuing to grow. We have welcomed Belize as the newest member of the IPU, along with 2 new permanent observers. Delegations from Barbados and the Dominica have also joined us during this Assembly in Tashkent to explore possible affiliation too. We are keeping on top of the difficulties that some members of the IPU are facing, whether it be in paying their contributions or transitioning back to democracy after political upheaval. And once again, we have taken steps to modernize and strengthen our statutes and rules, and we will continue exploring more ways to do so. Madam President, it's been a pleasure and a privilege to bring the IPU Assembly to Central Asia for the first time. And I could not imagine a better place for our first visit to Tashkent. We're honored to have His Excellency President Shavkat Mirziyoyev with us, delivering a very important and inspiring statement to a special session of the plenary of this Assembly. We know very well that his comments during that session have inspired the Tashkent Declaration that was adopted earlier during this session. Madam President, dear Tanzila, we feel very nostalgic already. We feel that this adventure, this wonderful adventure, is about to conclude. We have been working with you closely, you and your colleagues, over the past 1 year to organize this assembly. And it's like an anticlimax now that we are beginning to conclude our deliberations. We want to say thank you to you again for being such a gracious host, for attending to all the details that have led to a very smooth assembly here. Let me use this opportunity also to recognize the contribution of your colleague of the Legislative Chamber, His Excellency Ismailov, for contributing extensively together with his colleagues and staff of the Legislative Chamber to making this assembly a most successful one. Indeed, we'll take away the warmth of hospitality that has been shown to each and every one of us here, and I'm sure that we will all want to come back to Uzbekistan at the earliest opportunity. Madam President, you and your colleagues have given us a wonderful time here in Uzbekistan, and we look forward to the next opportunity. Let me use this opportunity to extend my best wishes to all of you participants, without whom we would not have had this assembly, and we look forward to seeing you in the near future. I wish you a safe trip back home to your respective countries. Madam President, Tulia, I was told that I was going to speak after you, before you, but it didn't happen. So now let me use this opportunity to invite you to this rostrum so that we can perform a responsibility that is incumbent upon the leadership of the organization. We would like to invite our gracious host, Dr. Tanzila Nabaeva, to join us here.
I have speech?
Yes, you are going to make a speech at the end. You are going to make a speech at the end.
Colleagues, this is the hammer that we use in our parliaments. You all know when a decision has been made, and even here we have been using one. So we are offering it to our Speaker, Tanzila, as a sign that the IPU appreciates the good work that she has done during this assembly, and wish her more years of service here in Uzbekistan.
Thank you very
so
much.
it has her name. It has her name. And so I'm going to read it. Oh, thank you. You want to stand for her? That's great. Thank you. So, yeah, I have to read the words for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Katta rahmat.
Thank you very much. Dear Mrs. Tulia Accent, dear Mr. Martin Chinkon, Secretary General, please take your seats and for almost a week now, we have been holding the 150th anniversary of the Assembly of the Inter-Parliamentary Union. To be honest, as the Assembly comes to a close, there is a sense of melancholy in our hearts. Over the past few days, we witnessed engaging plenary sessions, lively debates, and meaningful meetings. Now they're coming to an end. Our Assembly once again confirmed its status as an important international platform. Pressing global issues concerning all nations and peoples were discussed openly and freely. This is a great achievement for all of us. The ideas of justice, peace, and humanism resonated powerfully, expressing solidarity with the common challenges of humanity. Most importantly, a spirit of shared thinking, global responsibility, and unity was formed. Every participant approached this process sincerely and with a sense of duty. Our friendly and close-knit parliamentary family demonstrated to the international community our commitment to peace and openness to dialogue. You have witnessed the tremendous efforts made over the past year in cooperation with the Inter-Parliamentary Union. We conducted extensive research and engaged in numerous discussions with its secretariat. Our goal was singular: to ensure that this Jubilee Assembly would truly be historic and memorable event, and all our proposals were accepted. Thank you very much for this Secretariat of the IPU. And you should understand, our goal was common in order to ensure that this Jubilee Assembly would be truly historic and memorable event. I believe we have achieved this. Many participants confirmed it as well. First and foremost, on behalf of my Uzbek colleagues, I would like to express our deep gratitude to all of you for your kind and warm words about Uzbekistan, as well as for your thoughts about Khiva, Bukhara, Samarkand, and our other regions. I sincerely wish that you come to love Uzbekistan as much as we do, and that you would want to return again and again to this hospitable land. I would also like to extend special thanks to the leadership of the Inter-Parliamentary Union. We expressed our heartfelt gratitude to all parliamentary delegations who participated in the work of the Assembly. Thanks to you, our city of Tashkent transformed into a true international parliamentary hub, a welcoming venue for friendly dialogue. Dear colleagues, I also thank all the experts who actively contributed their suggestions and participated in the Assembly. special thanks go to the Secretariat staff of the Inter-Parliamentary Union who worked day and night with us to make the Assembly a success. We must also mention our dedicated volunteers. These young men and women show great warmth, sincere hospitality, and attention to all our guests. Thank you, dear youth, thank you very much. I wish to express particular gratitude to our interpreters who eased our communications. Many of them work with us timelessly outside their regular jobs and studies. Thank you to you. Likewise, I extend deep appreciation to Secretary General Martin Chukong and all his team members because you carried out your duties with timeliness and great responsibility. Notably, I would like to mention Andrea, Philippe, Tara, Angela, and other staff worked with us relentlessly for more than a year, day and night without rest. All the words of gratitude we are receiving also belong to you. Thank you immensely. Yes, thanks a lot once again, all your staff. To the outstanding President of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, Ms. Tulia Axon, your contribution to the active functioning of the Union is invaluable. Today, the IPU's international prestige continues to grow, and we cannot acknowledge it. And not acknowledge, you have played a major role in fostering a productive and friendly atmosphere within its team. You are doing everything in your power to ensure that IPU's decisions positively impact people's lives and promote the development of global parliamentarism. Under your leadership, these efforts will surely be etched into history of the Inter-Parliamentary Union forever. Dear colleagues, I am confident that this assembly will be remembered for a lifetime. It will stay in our memories, especially for its open, friendly spirit. I think from tomorrow, the assembly held in Tashkent will be written into the pages of history, and I believe it will remain one of the brightest chapters in this history. This assembly has been a truly global event. It opened up new, meaningful avenues of cooperation for us. It reminded us once again to look to the future with sincerely and a fresh perspective. It taught us a better understanding one another. Once again, on behalf of my compatriots, I wish you all the best and thank you very much. Dear participants, thank you for enriching and exciting days we spent together. I extend my heartfelt best wishes to all of you. As we part, we express our hope to meet again on many occasions. Dear friends, this is not goodbye. It is until we meet again. With that, if you let me know, using this small gift, this small hammer, I declare it closed. Dear colleagues, with that, I declare the 150th anniversary assembly of the Inter-Parliamentary Union closed.
Tashkent.
Не, в принципе, опыт, да.